OK，我諗住應該正正常常嘅時間瞓覺嘅，點知瞓咗2個鐘就醒咗啦，半夜2點。唉，玩埋今個 case 嘅結局佢啦，跟住好鬼多呢個網絡嘅問題啦，又或者 OBS 嘅問題嘅，檢查下先。係啦，而家係睇到嘅。咁上段 stream 雖然臨尾好似斷咗線咁，但係我睇個 stream 好似冇任何嘢消失到。咁我唔 upload，差少少呢個 comment analysis。去到而家為止啲線索，都唔可以拼埋一齊。佢話揾唔晒㗎嘛，佢話啲嘢冇一個拼得埋一齊。個 experiment 係咩？Environment analysis 好似係。
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask. A carnivorous plant. This is a strange and unusual plant. A prickly plant.
三棵嘢個樣都非常之唔友善，真係啲似森林入面先會有嘅嘢。點玩啊？見
No reaction. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed.
佢嘅活動能力好強，應該係遊戲誇張咗。
My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. My word!
可以玩呢三棵嘢都好鬼恐怖。呢棵唔知有咩用，但呢啲係物理攻擊嚟㗎。
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating.
Alien 嚟㗎呢隻簡直。
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
仲有一棵嘢。我係咪應該要帶毒？我係咪應該要帶毒氣面佢
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it.
Alright.
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
就係呢種嘢毒死嘅。
The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
首先要有 alkali 喺有毒氣嗰棵嘢，跟住要咩啊？放啲蟲喺會射針嗰棵嘢嗰度。
This green grand mystic fellow seems rather suspicious, Holmes. What should we do next, Holmes?
咁一定係一個對植物認識好深嘅人先做到嘅，咁已經排除咗 Albert 嘅。冇可能你咁黐線。要試咁幾多次先做到呢啲嘢，譬如一把刀插死佢算。但係如果撳呢個嘅話，咁其他嘢都未有好多線索係未搞掂。 都喺個門口度。
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
佢記啲時間記得太仔，不過可能啲警察明過佢。問過佢嘅話，會記得仔啲嘢。化咗個記憶。佢為咗令我容易啲揾佢，佢永遠都企喺嗰度。不過唔係好現實啊！你又係永遠都企喺呢度。應該有其他嘢做先啦。
Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
What should we do? Excuse me, but I have to tidy up this room.
有機會兩個人合作。但係佢成個設計好似整到好似得一個人做到問題。個環境都幾大同幾靚。佢做得精細好多，今次個遊戲同之前嗰啲比，咁當然都係個技術提升嘅影響。
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
你有咩權力可以叫晒所有人走？又唔係警察。320。喂。
Cylinder records. Here it is.
These
plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
你點知係嗰段時間讀咧？咩係漏咗未做？我記得有好多個位係有可以做。而家要喺度重現翻成個殺人事件，好高難度。呢嚿嘢可以撳㗎喎喺度。
A water tank. First of all, I need to visit the colonial collection room to see how those caterpillars dropped onto the deadly plants.
即係唔係抌咗落去燒嘅，唔係抌咗落去燒。嗰啲植物係俾 Define Syndicate 嘅人偷咗嘅。啊唔係喎，可能有毒嗰啲係抌咗落去燒。我咪應該睇一睇。我咪應該睇一睇邊部。唔係喎 ，Define Syndicate 嗰係偷咗有毒嗰啲。明。 全靠想像力成事。
No, it wasn't like that.
I咪應該 reset？鎖咗添。
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
These windows were perfectly cleaned.
都係呢個人最有意。去查錯嗰邊先。誒，唔覺嘅。
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
閂埋，好鬼恐怖。
The power is on. The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working. Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room. What should we do next, Holmes?
點解你要企喺佢正下方？俾你食。最後一次。Albert 有冇關係
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
未完嘅喎，個遊戲。我以為推理完就會完，仲可以點發展呢啲啊？都好長效啊！今次有4個鐘咁滯。睇下幅地圖先。Laboratory 係 laboratory 即係 Miss White 喺依度。Sherlock Holmes 確信。邊度係 reserve？有一部分睇下睇唔睇到埋先。 係5日前噶嘛？呢個係5日前偷噶嘛？單案係2日前偷噶。呢度得一個，呢度得一樣嘢可以揀，冇得揀。
I must admit, it would be rather unusual to use a poisonous plant as a murder weapon.
A very good day to you, my friend. Is Inspector Lestrade in?
The inspector's waiting for you in his office. Mr. Holmes?
Crest Club 係冇關係，同我 define 先冇關係。
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
冇得翻轉頭。出咗去先。都可以嘅，出咗去之後驗翻啫，可以翻轉頭。未係真係告佢。
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
溫室係依間，係左邊嗰啲都係玻璃整。
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
What should we do next, Holmes? What should...
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
咩叫 club foot？ 死！ Deformity in which the affected foot appears rotated internally at the end. Okay. 係天生。有咩特別？係 key element 有咩特別？我覺得佢係庇護緊 Miss White， 因為要 Miss White 去管理呢個花園，咁先後繼有人。 Failed torsion.我最驚嘅係佢有共犯，咁就好難推理啦。即係你三個疑犯入面選一個，個可能性少啲啊嘛。2嘅3次方就有8個可能性。估唔到咁長喎呢個劫。
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case.
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
不愧係比爾嗰單，果然好鬼難。咁有啲係假㗎嘛呢啲。佢肯定有啲嘢係假嘅。好長啊！呢對話。So I ran immediately to fetch Albert. 佢應該係講真話嘅，佢想查到邊個殺自己個老豆嘅。如果唔係，佢唔會提出嚟啊。所以佢嘅嫌疑係最低嘅。咁如果係共犯嘅話，應該係 Miss White。同埋，如果 Hermes 同 Albert 合作嘅話，咁佢哋關係唔會咁差咯，先。所以 Miss White 嘅嫌疑比較大啲。好難記得晒啲時間。Around 10。
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
係點解佢係由9:30開始嘅，唔係9:10開始嘅成件事？ 好搞笑呢幅圖。咁有啲係假嘅，有啲信息。係啊，嚟過。呢個係真嘅，呢兩。
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
解佢唔得啊？佢做嗰啲研究。唉，我都覺得好可惜嘅一啲，真係上次個考古學家同埋今次呢啲懸藝師嘅知識啊，係因為嘅知識嘅流失啊，係個法律係要吊死佢嘅。你即係你真係謀殺啊嘛？你唔係兇殺啊嘛？唔係一時衝動，又唔係自毀啊嘛？Ending.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining. The deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her. Quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop! I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Doctor.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
有咩分別咧？你都係想吊死佢。
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me? Or worse?
Justice Seeker。A half moon walk。如果喺呢度停嘅話，咁係咪？我唔想開下單按住。Escape。
Where are you?
好，幾有趣嘅佢，我唔知佢係咪跟原著做嘅，即係我之前都講過呢個問題。如果佢跟原著做咁，睇原著啲人咪玩唔到呢個遊戲，好矛盾成件事，好鬼難整。